Let's just dive right into this. Welcome to today's explainer. We are stepping into the shadows of a truly terrifying story today. It's called Akhri Awaz, which basically translates to the last voice. We're going to break down the anatomy of a haunting, looking at how a completely everyday situation can just morph into an inescapable nightmare. So, turn down the lights, focus up, and let's get into it. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard of a house like this? Like a house that the locals absolutely swear is empty, but you still get that undeniable, creeping feeling that someone or something else is inside. It is a deeply unsettling concept. It's this idea of a house that actively calls out to you. And the worst part? Once you step through its doors, it literally never lets you leave. Which brings us to part one of our story, the cheap, empty house. Because, of course, every terrifying story starts with a totally innocent premise, right? So meet Rahul. He's just a guy looking for a fresh start in a new city, and he decides to rent this old, creaking house for one simple reason. It was incredibly cheap. I mean, locals rumored it to be completely vacant. But just picture Rahul, lugging his bags, stepping over the threshold as the floorboards groan under his feet. No one actually knew the truth of what was waiting inside. The tension is literally building from his very first step.
Okay, moving on to part two, shadows and strange whispers.
The horror here doesn't wait. It doesn't give Rahul a second to unpack or settle in. Just look at this timeline. It escalates so fast. On the very first day, he notices this extra, unexplainable shadow just kind of lingering right next to his own reflection. Then, by nightfall, there's that distinct, slow, creaking sound of a door opening entirely on its own. And then midnight hits. A faint, low whisper cuts through the dead silence, simply saying his name, Rahul. Imagine the pure, visceral panic of hearing your name whispered in a house where you are absolutely supposed to be alone. Part 3. The Diary's Dark Secret. Now, Rahul isn't just going to sit there and be a victim. He actually searches every dark corner of this creaking house to find the source of that whisper. But he finds absolutely no one. Instead, in the eerie, flickering light, he discovers just one single thing. An old, hidden diary. Literally the only physical evidence that something or someone was occupying the space before he got there. The absolute crux of this is what was actually written inside the pages. The chilling entry translates to this: "Whoever comes here never goes back. I am here, and I am waiting for you." Just let that sink in. Think about the sheer horror of reading those exact words while standing alone in an empty house. It is a direct, written warning from some entity that's just been biding its time in the dark. Let's jump into part 4, the face in the mirror. So that night, things go from, unsettling to just downright terrifying. The voices grow louder, doors are violently slamming open by themselves, and the whole house is plunged into this heavy, suffocating darkness. And then comes the absolute peak of Rahul's nightmare. You look into a mirror expecting to see your own reflection, right? That's just how mirrors work. But the reality Rahul faces, he looks into the glass, and instead of himself, he sees a woman's face, washed in blood. It is a heart-stopping, visceral jump scare of a moment. And right after that, her voice comes through loud and clear, delivering this completely paralyzing ultimatum. It translates to, "Don't leave here or stay here forever." The entity has finally revealed itself completely. The trap is officially sprung. Which leads us to part 5, the final haunting echo. I want you to imagine this stark contrast here. We go from the absolute chaotic terror of the night straight into the eerie, sunlit calmness of the very next morning. The house is completely, deeply silent. But let's look at the chilling lack of physical evidence left behind. Rahul's room, completely empty. His bag is missing. That terrifying diary, gone. It is quite literally as if he was simply erased from existence without a single trace. The only thing that remained was this lingering echo, repeating softly in the empty room. Translated, it simply says, "Waiting for the next." Honestly, it gives me chills. Rahul was just a placeholder. The ghost has completely reset its trap. The house is technically empty once again, and it's just sitting there, waiting for its next victim. And finally, part 6, a final warning. Let's pull back from the story for a second, because this isn't just about a fictional guy named Rahul. Think of it as a cautionary tale. A warning about those extremely cheap, seemingly abandoned properties that you might walk past in your own city every single day. The final piece of advice translates to something very simple. If you ever find a house like this, just stay away. And I really want to leave you with that thought. Sometimes a place is empty for a reason, and sometimes the absolute cheapest rent demands the highest price imaginable. Knowing what you know now, would you still walk inside? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and until next time, just be very careful which doors you choose to open.